Okay, to begin, I've got one audio track set up, and the input I have selected to receive audio from my monologue, and I've enabled it to record. Now what I want to do is create another MIDI channel to send MIDI to the keyboard and then record this audio on the way back into Ableton. So in order to do that, I need to create a new MIDI track. I can do it two ways. I can either go up to the top here, go to Create, Insert MIDI Track. But here's the hot command, which is Shift Command T. So let's use that. Shift Command T, New MIDI Track. Now right now, if I play this MIDI track, it doesn't do anything. But you see right here it says MIDI 2. If I go to Monologue as my output and the sound port, then now the MIDI will go through the USB cable into the keyboard, through the audio cable into my interface, and back out here. So now let's try it one more time. Now what you're hearing is the MIDI from the push triggering the monologue and the audio from the monologue going into Ableton. Now in advance I went ahead and set up a MIDI region. So let's go ahead and pull that in here. Here's some basic MIDI that I've created in advance. You could program this in whatever pattern you want. And now you can hear this pattern being played through the monologue. And of course, whatever changes you make here will be reflected if I go down an octave. Okay. Now you can record right over here. So at the moment you hit record, it's going to start capturing this whole thing. Okay, now we've got a loop. There's one more thing that you'll need to do in order to make this perfect. There's a little bit of latency in the audio, so you can see my grid actually has all this stuff just slightly behind the beat. So in order to fix that, I'm going to zoom into this first transients, select here, right click, and say set 111 here. Boom. Now what that does is it changes my grid, so now everything is directly on the grid. And that's it. You now know how to do it. I'm going to show you one other way to do it in the arrangement view. So if you take your MIDI here, hit Tab, drop it into arrangement view. Now over here, you'll be hearing the exact same thing going on. Okay, now let's capture the audio here. Hit record. Okay, and then again, if you zoom way in, you'll see that your transients are just slightly off of the grid. Okay, so in order to fix that, let's zoom all the way in to the start here, move it, and there you go. Now all of your transients is directly on your grid. Now I'm going to show you how to do the exact same thing just by using the push. So you have your one audio track set up, ready to go, which is just receiving audio from the monologue. So what we're going to do is hit Add Track. Under MIDI track, choose the default MIDI track. Oops, not that button, this knob. There you go. Hit Load. Now you've created a default MIDI track. However, it's not triggering the monologue. So what you got to do is go to Mix. And now this shows you the overview of everything that you have available to mix. If you hit it for a second time, there's another mix window that zooms in just to whatever track you're highlighted on. So by pressing that, you now get the input and output stuff right there. So hit that tab. By going to Output and now selecting the monologue, this will now be triggering the monologue. And then whatever you record on this MIDI channel will be sent to the Monologue.